What's going on, everybody? Tucker Bagley and Eliot Shorr-Parks live at the half. Eagles, 49ers, NFL wildcard weekend. It's not super anymore. It's just normal wildcard weekend. Eagles lead the 49ers 13-10 at the half. And Eliot, it's only a 3-point game, but I have to imagine if you're an Eagles fan, you're feeling pretty good about what you've seen really from both sides of the ball. The defense has given up a couple big plays, which has led to those 10 points, but the offense, maybe their two best drives we've seen in a really long time, especially that second touchdown drive, 16 plays, 94 yards, took 9 minutes off the clock. I mean, you have to be feeling pretty good after the first 30 minutes of today's game so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of times at halftime this year, we've done this halftime show and said, yeah, they're winning, but we don't feel great. I feel like today they should be up more, but I also think the way they're playing is very encouraging. The offense at one point was on pace for almost 500 yards. I think they're probably still on pace for close to 400 yards. They're moving the ball well. I think they've run it well. They've done some creative stuff in the red zone. Nick and credit to Sirianni, Patullo, and Jalen for the stuff they've run in the red zone, getting Goddard the ball two different creative ways. But it just feels like they're continually getting positive plays on offense, which is obviously a huge deal. On defense, I feel like they're playing pretty well. It's really just those two chunk plays that have really killed them. But for me, I mean, the thing I'm thinking about most heading into this halftime is what happened between AJ and Nick. Like that exchange on the sideline. I mean, it was bad, right? Like AJ and Nick going at each other. AJ has to be, kind of held back at the bench. Nick, I don't know if the broadcast showed this, but a coach had to hold him back as well from continuing to go after AJ. So although the offense is playing well and although they are winning the game, it's just you add that in with the fact they should be up more. It just feels like the vibes are not as high as it should be. Like if I would have told you they would have had this many yards at the half and that they would be 2 for 2 in the red zone, like I think you would feel better about it. But when you add in what happened with AJ and Nick, with the fact that they should be up more, with all those different things, I feel like this is a game they should have more control of, but it's still very much up for the taking.
Yeah, it feels very 2025 Eagles to talk about all those positive things. And then you kind of look on the field and you have the missed extra point from Jake. You have those
Yep.
two deep balls to AJ, which Tom Brady on the broadcast blamed the wind on both of them, which it is super windy from being down at the
It is.
stadium for the pregame show. Like it is tough to complete those deep, kind of high arching passes. And Tim McManus did say after the whole AJ and Nick Sirianni thing, he thought it was because AJ and Jordan Mailata were
Didn't
taking their
get off
time
the
getting off
field.
the
Yeah.
field, and
Yeah.
that
So
kind of started it.
so my thing is that is what it seems to be about. If you kind of read Nick's lips as he goes down the sideline, you can see him kind of saying, "Get off the field." I just am shocked at the way it got so heated between the two of them so quickly, right? Like we all have coworkers, we all have friends, and just like, well, hopefully everyone listening has friends, but like we all, have people in our lives, and it just feels like that got super heated, super quick. I've always got the impression
Sometimes
they
it's not
can.
about that, right? Like if my
Well, that's
wife
what I'm
yells at me
saying.
about the
Exactly.
dishwasher, it may not be about the dishwasher.
Yes, exactly. But what I'm saying is more like I just think for it to get that heat, it just speaks. Just wasn't good. So not to harp on that too much. I just do think that was going to be a story we'll talk about, especially if they lose. But yeah, I was surprised, and again, it just kind of speaks to the feeling at halftime for me at least, which is they should be up more than they are, right? Obviously, outside just a missed point, it just feels like when you have almost 500, or when you're on pace for almost 500 yards of offense, you should have more than 13 points. And I think what's disappointing too, for it to be a close game like it is the fact that Quinion was so to blame for that first drive. Like they went right after Quinion, and to his credit, the sense they've not had as much luck. But for Quinion to get burned like that, and we talked about it during the week, that it was going to be tough enough to stop McCaffrey and Kittle. If you let the other receivers get going, that just adds a dimension to the 49ers offense that can be problematic. Now they've calmed it down. Unfortunately, positive thoughts sent Kittle's way with that injury. It seems like it's a pretty bad one. But from an Eagles perspective, and for the second half of this game, that's obviously good news for the Eagles that he won't be out there. So you look at it now, they're up 3, still obviously a one-score game, very close game. But this is a game they should win. Like no Kittle out there. Obviously, we've talked about how much they're missing on the defensive side of the ball. The 49ers are. So this thing's ripe for the taking. They just got to hold on.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Quindion Mitchell struggled to start the game. Was the one who forced that fumble at the end of the half where Brock
Yeah,
Purdy tried to get out of
good
bounds.
point.
So makes a big play there, probably saves at most 3 points. Maybe they missed the field goal, but at least, pushes it to the half. But yeah, I just think the Eagles offense has played the way you thought they would have, or the way you would have hoped heading into today, right? Saquon Barkley's got 15 carries for 70 yards. Tank Bigsby had 3 really big
Tank's
carries,
been
and
good. Yep.
I think the most maybe impressive thing is how well Jalen Hurts has played, especially on third down. Now he didn't, complete that pass to AJ at the end of the half, but for the most part, like he's made a few really big plays on third down to keep the offense moving and keep the drives going. And I just think watching him through the first 30 minutes, I feel pretty confident in his decision making and the way he's played, moving forward.
Well, I think another positive from the first half is how often do we do these halftime shows and feel confident that in the second half, if the offense needs to go down the field, they'll be able to do it, right? Like they've looked like they're able to do it. Now, as we preview the second half and what we're going to see, like a major key will be, can they keep this going? We have seen the offense have really good halves. First half of Buffalo, right? Second half of Minnesota, second half of the Rams. But we've also seen them go long stretches without completing any passes. Tampa Bay, Buffalo, right? So I think for the second half, it is going to be about, can they get 10 more points? Like, I think to guarantee a win at this point, you would probably need 30. I think 2 touchdowns from the Niners is unlikely, but is certainly possible. So I think if you can get 2 more touchdowns via the Eagles, a field goal, and you can, keep the offense moving, like you should win the game. I do think outside of the chunk plays, the 49ers haven't had great success moving the ball, but it is about like, can this offense keep it going in the second half? Because we've seen them go through really long stretches. You brought up Saquon and Tank. I think Saquon's looked awesome so far today. Like he's
I
making
think it's the
guys
best he's
miss.
looked all year. I know he had
agree.
a great game against the
100%.
Giants with that big run, but I think this is the best he's looked all year.
I agree. The way he's making guys miss, the cuts look quick. It looks like he has an explosive first step. I think Tank has been exactly what you would expect, running hard, running through guys. He's been really impressive. It really is just like, can they keep it going? Because again, I think 30 points, but if they just double what they have in the first half, that's 26. I think you could feel a good chance of winning it, if that. So, they have the week off. I do think they look refreshed. I do think the offensive line has looked good. I think Jalen has had time in the pocket. I'm very surprised Jalen hasn't run it much. I really thought that was something that was going to happen. We'll see if that's something they try to do in the second half. But yeah, I think it's just about maintaining, right? Cut out the big plays on defense, make the Niners work for it. They're winning the time of possession here, as you mentioned, almost to 20 to 10. So they are controlling the ball, which we know is big for this team. It's just about duplicating it. Like duplicate the first half. They duplicate the first half, they'll win the game. But this is one of the tests for the team, right? Like they have had trouble maintaining. I will say too, random thought before we kind of start to wrap this up. Like shout out to whoever made the point to the ref that took that touchdown back. Like you never ever see that where they call a touchdown back and then they meet or someone says something and they give them the touchdown. So that was obviously big, really good play design by Patullo there. But yeah, I mean, outside of the chunk plays, like this could be 13-3 and you could feel really good about where things are at. But those chunk plays did happen and they had the Juwan Jennings ones at the end of the first half. Like they have been finding holes in this Eagles defense and getting chunk plays.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of has been the one Achilles heel, right, in the Eagles' defense. They have given up big plays, but the Eagles start the second half with the ball. Probably, if you can go on a big drive and score a touchdown here, go up 10, that would certainly be a huge thing for them. Because, like you said, in Buffalo, we kind of felt pretty good at halftime. And then by the time the second half rolled around, zero completions.
Yeah. Well, and the other part of this quickly is, Jake Elliott, a missed kick again. So if this is going to be close, now he does make the extra point for the second touchdown. So, and he kicked it pretty emphatically, right? Like he certainly made sure he had enough on that. Look, it is windy, but at the same time, like he could have to make a big kick late. So, they went for it on that fourth down. I don't think that's directly a result of Jalen.
I like the
Jake
aggressiveness. I think independent of Jake, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that they've been aggressive on fourth down.
I agree. Yeah. So again, like things are going well. I think the offense has come out and looked good. The offense is moving the ball. The defense, save for 2 or 3 plays, look good. It truly is just about holding on. Like, I would say my confidence level in them winning this game at this point is like a 7.
I was going to say a 7 or an 8. And I think maybe depending on how this first drive goes in the second half would swing that.
Yeah, they get the ball. That's a good point.
You get the ball. And your last drive, and it's kind of funny because that 94-yard drive, they did have a false start that pushed them to 3rd and 15. Now they're able to convert it, but their last drive was, kind of dismantled by a false start by Fred Johnson. So once again, those kind of negative plays really, really hurting them as they spin their wheels. That'll do it for Eliot and myself. Eliot and James will be back as soon as the game is over to react to everything. Hopefully an Eagles win. Hopefully we're previewing the Eagles going to Chicago and facing the Bears next week. But that'll do it for Eliot. I'm Tucker.